have you here with us in Greece in Focus FM. Welcome to Greece.
So everyone, this is great. We're with Stefanos on Greek radio, one of the leading radio stations in Greece. And it's a pleasure to be here.
It's my honor. It's the first time I'm interviewing a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America. So I think it's very interesting that we can talk today, Dr. Shiva. So tell us about yourself so the Greek audience can know you better. I saw that you describe yourself as a warrior, scientist, warrior. Why is that? Why Dr. Shiva is a warrior?
Well, let's define, what it means to be a warrior, right? Or a scientist, or for example, someone who wants to heal people, right? In many, many ancient systems of culture, including Greece or India or many of these cultures, if you actually look at the word warrior and you look at the word healer, science, in order to heal someone, medicine, you have to understand how to heal. They're the same word. In India, it was known as Vaidya. A Vaidya is someone who fights evil, but also fights death, you say? So for some reason in the Western world, they separated the world into two words. So they're actually the same word. So I think it's important to understand someone who fights evil, fights death, is both a warrior and a healer, a scientist, right? Who's trying to understand the laws of nature to fundamentally change things. All right?
Yes. Yes.
So I think that's important to understand. John, one of the things you want to know is Twitch, it's not streaming to, okay? There's some error, but you may want to fix that. But so that's one of the things that we need to be understood. So it's the same word. So for me, what I don't understand, why isn't it most scientists are not warriors, and they're supposed to be. I don't know what they are. They're not really doing science. They're doing the goal of science is to expose truth, right? Is to see the universe as it is. So in that sense, you're going to war against the forces of darkness, because truth gets revealed when you pierce darkness, you see? So the scientist, the warrior, the healer are all the same thing. For some reason, we've separated these things into, oh, you're a scientist, you're a nerd, and you're a fighter, you're a freedom fighter, and you're someone who focuses on health. That's why if you look at our movement's, slogan, truth, freedom, health, the scientist fights for truth, right? The warrior fights for people, and then the healer fights for health, but they're all the same person. You cannot be, how can you fight for truth when you're allowing injustice to take place? How can you fight for injustice when you don't know what truth is? And how can you heal your body when you don't know what truth is, nor what fighting is? You say they're all one thing. So, the concept of reductionism is to take something very complex and reduce it into simple parts. So that's why the movement that I founded, that I lead globally now, Truth, Freedom, Health, it's a global movement. 500 million people in the world now know about it. 500,000 people have gone through the program. But we're educating people that you cannot just be a scientist. You cannot just be a warrior. You cannot just be some person who just takes care of your physical body for health. You have to be all those three things together, because they are united. So Truth, Freedom, Health is one unified concept, which is what everyone should strive for. You can't do them separately. So the problem we have in politics is people.
I lost you.
Oops, are you there?
Dr. Shiva.
Yep, I can hear you.
Do you hear Dr. Shiva? I lost you.
Okay.
I lost you for a minute. It's a constant fight. You were saying that it's a constant fight.
No, what I was saying was that these three phenomenon, fighting for, trying to expose truth, fighting for freedom, and staying healthy, they're all the same thing. You cannot stay healthy if you don't know what the truth is, like what you should put into your body, what works, right? You can't really fight for freedom if you're not healthy. You say, so all these things are integrated.
Yeah, of course.
So the words in the English language and these concepts sometimes put people into buckets. You say, oh, if you're a scientist, that means you must be, not able to speak. Right. Right. If you're a freedom fighter, you must look a certain way. And if you're healthy, you must just be a yoga teacher, that all those three things cannot come together. Okay. So we're saying is you have to be a scientist, you have to be a freedom fighter, and you have to be healthy. Truth, freedom, health. Right. So when I say I'm a warrior, scientist, engineer, inventor, that's what I am. I do all those three things. I cannot separate them. You will see me on the ground handing out a flyer one day, you know, exposing, be it people like Fauci or Booby, Robert Kennedy or Trump. These people are not real fighters. On the other day, I will be writing a scientific paper into a major journal. And another day, you know, we'll be engineering our system, you say? And another day, you know, I created the first email system, right? As a kid, right? That's the inventor. Yeah. Okay. So my view is that
you invented the first email system
in the world. Yes. When I was 14 years old. Yeah. So I did that when I was 14 in a medical school. Okay. And the anniversary of email was on August 30th. So I did that when I was 14, which some people may find hard to believe, but they're fine believing Mozart wrote all these symphonies, right? So the human being has immense power to innovate and create. But we have told people that if you're a scientist, you must look like a nerd, right? And you must behave like this. If you're an athlete, you must be, you know, stupid, right? You can just, right? So we've created very many of these artificial barriers, you know?
And now you set up a goal, which I believe is the most difficult goal for the White House, the heart of the global system.
Well, let's.
The heart of the new world order.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. So every 2 to 4 years, the governments in any organization, the US government runs these things called elections. Okay? It's actually a theatrical event. It's theater. Yeah, it's theater, right? So every 2 to 4 years, they typically find the people that they want. They may have 5 people. They don't care who wins, but they're the ones who push, let's say, 5 people, okay, on the Democrat side or the Republican side. And what they're trying to do is find out the best person who can bullshit the people the best, if that makes any sense, okay? So and then they make sure very few people vote, right? So if you have in a country 300, let's say 100 million eligible voters, first of all, only let's say 50 million of those people even bother voting because they don't believe in the system. And out of those 50 million who register to vote, only half of them even go to vote. You see, so they don't want people participating in the democratic process. So they give people, and then when people do participate, they give them their chosen anointed, like a king anointing people. So they give Trump, who talks a big game, but is full of shit, right? He's the one who promoted lockdowns. He's the one who didn't fire Fauci. Or then they find people who have my skin color to try to manipulate people. You say they put different kinds of people. So the whole goal, what they do, Stefanos, is they don't truly practice real democracy. They're actually afraid of people. So it's controlled democracy, right?
So how are you going to fight this system? How are you going to fight with rigged elections?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So we need to understand that a rigged election, okay, begins way before the rigging of the election.
Of course.
So the rigging of the election is not on election day. The rigging of the election occurs a year before election day because they decide who is going to run and who is going to get the publicity on the media. That's already rigging the election. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
So let's say there's 5 people running and they only want the competition between 3 people. They'll make sure the other 2 people are invisible in the media. Okay?
Yeah.
So the rigging of the election occurs long before the actual election day. Okay?
Of course.
So, and then when you have the election, they make sure they decide who's going to win. Even among themselves, they may have disagreements and they manipulate that. So in Massachusetts in 2020, you know, we won that election. They stole it from us. All right. But the good thing was, Stefano, we exposed in detail how they did it. And that has never been done before. That took an engineer, that took a scientist to do that. And we got that out. Right. And we got that out to about 500 million people and a warrior, you say?
Yeah.
So to me, that was a victory. Even though they stole the election, we educated about 500 million people in the world that the United States elections are selections. That's a very good thing. So we won. So now I'm running for president, right? So our president thing has this bumper sticker, right? People can take this bumper sticker and they can peel the back, you see, and they can put this on the back of their car. Now, why am I saying this? This is now a movement. It's not only a presidential election, but it's a movement, you see, for truth, freedom, and health. All right. So they do not want guys like me who actually have a brain, who actually care about people, who actually have a huge global audience ever running. They want me to be in the lab and just doing science, right? Or maybe inventing email, right? They're fine with that. But they do not want us out building a movement. So what we are doing, Stefano, is we're creating a movement. Now the movement, and what do I mean by building a movement? We've actually built a movement, is that historically, if you look, people have tried to change the world in a fundamental way, right? One time, you know the story of Icarus, right? It comes from Greece. Icarus trying to fly, right? He put the feathers on and he flew, and then the sun melted his things and he died.
The feathers melt, yes, of course.
Right, the feathers melted, right? So that's the story of Icarus, right? Coming from Greece. But people thought human beings could never fly.
Yeah.
But we figured out how to fly. We discovered the scientific principles of flight called Bernoulli's principle. And then when we figured out those laws, then we engineered airplanes which followed those principles. And then now we have 747s with a shower up there, and you're getting fed first class food, right? It's pretty amazing. That was done. That was done by engineers who understood the laws of science. It wasn't done by politicians. Politicians could never have built an airplane. Politicians, lawyers could never have built an airplane. It took an engineer who understood the laws of physics. So let me ask you this question. If you look throughout history, who built the iPhone? It was an engineer. Who built anything we have, the car, radio, it was done by engineers working with understanding the laws of physics. Now, do you think, if that is true, that a politician who knows nothing about engineering or science can ever create a world for us? Think about what I'm saying at a very fundamental level. When a politician says, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to create a better world for you.
A politician that has never worked.
Never worked. Right. And
never
for
worked
right.
One day.
Right. Never had.
They believe that it is their birthright to be politicians.
Right. A politician who has never had to understand the laws of the universe and then figure out, it takes a lot of effort to write a software program. It took a lot of effort to create email. It took a lot of effort to make an iPhone. It took a lot of effort to create the light bulb. So why are we electing people who have no idea of how to engineer anything, ever work a hard day? And this is a fundamental question. So what this means is that it comes back to the individual. The individual has to ask themselves, why am I even electing these morons? Why am I even watching them when they come on TV? So you have a person, we have a guy called Jamie Valentino right here, right? A friend. He's a welder. He goes to work and he welds. He makes things. Now, if you're somebody who makes a car or you make something and you're looking at another idiot who talks and he's never done anything, why are you giving him any respect? You should have respect for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And you should find people who are like you because they've actually had to struggle and fight injustice or make something or create something. So in my view, this goes back to the individual. Sometimes people have to sit in a quiet room and think about what I'm saying. Why are you even giving any of these people any of your ears, any of your eyes? So our leaders fundamentally reflect, Stefano, our own consciousness. Okay? So this is at a very quantum level. So if you want truth, freedom, and health, right? Which is what I believe every human being wants.
Yeah.
How are you going to get there? If you want to fly, how are you going to get there? You have to build an airplane.
You need an engineer.
What's that?
You need an engineer. You need an engineer.
Of course. You need people who work. If we're going to create a world, so if we're going to create, if we're going to create a world of truth, freedom, health, we need people who have a proven history of actually building and creating those things, right? So when
Makes sense.
It's very common sense. It's very common sense. Are you going to hire a politician to fix your sink when it's clogged? Are you going to hire a politician to fix your car? Are you going to hire a lawyer? A lawyer can't talk. If the light bulb is broken, a lawyer can't talk as well. You got to actually fix it. Okay?
Yeah, of course.
So this is it's physics. It's very fundamental. So
let me ask you, because you remind us the Icarus story, but you know, Trojan horse is also a Greek story. Trojan horse was the way for the Greeks to invade Troy from the inside.
yeah.
Do you think, Dr.SHIVA, do you think that the new world order has polluted our camp, the warrior of freedom camp, with Trojan horses? You mentioned JFK, and I believe Trump. You also mentioned Trump before. Do you think that those two are Trojan horses?
Yeah, definitely. So what we have to understand is that you nailed it. Okay. So we have to understand that Trump, RFK Jr., Bernie Sanders, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, these are all Trojan horses. All right.
Right.
Because the establishment has realized they do not want people truly coming from the bottom to be their leaders. So what they do is they create leaders from top, and they all mouth the right words. They become very, very evil now. They find people who say, you know what, say this, 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 this. It's called messaging, marketing. And then people follow you, but we own you. Okay. So if you look at Robert Kennedy, I call him Booby Kennedy because he's a moron. Go look at March of 2020. Look at his actions. He was supporting lockdowns. Okay. He was,
Right.
I was on the ground fighting lockdowns. Okay. We were in March of 2020. March of 2020, everyone should write on their skull. March of 2020 was the most important time in human history. It was when everything was changing. So if you're a leader, you have to go look at what this person did in March of 2020, not what they're saying in 2021.
All right.
You know, stealing my content and writing a book against Fauci. But because in March of 2020, Booby effing Kennedy was promoting lockdowns. Okay? He was promoting the climate change nonsense. He was saying lockdowns were good, right? But anyone also who gets major mass media attention, positive or negative, is part of the establishment.
All right.
Very simple. And these are fundamental laws. Why would because when you put someone on TV, even though you're attacking them, you're giving them exposure. Okay? Visibility is everything. You know, someone said good publicity, bad publicity is all good publicity. All right? So when they take Trump and they make him like, oh my God, he's attacking Trump. Well, what did Trump do in March of 2020? He promoted lockdowns. He promoted vaccine mandates. He promoted mask mandates. He's the swarm.
You said,
huh?
You said that he didn't. You said that he didn't fire Fauci.
Exactly.
He should fire Fauci.
Yeah, because he said he was going to drain the swamp. Fauci has been there since normally almost 40, 50 years. He is the swamp. Yeah. In fact, Trump did something more interesting. So a lot of the stupid Trumpers will say, oh, well, he couldn't fire Fauci because, you know, he was fighting, you know, da-da-da. But 12 hours before Trump left office, what did he do? He gave Fauci a presidential commendation award for Operation Warp Speed. So our campaign, our movement is truth, freedom, and health. You know, people can look at my history, right? I've been a warrior all my life because I've had to fight myself, Stefano, against the Indian caste system. I've had to fight, you know, corruption. And so you can look at my entire history since I was 4 years old, and you will see me as an activist fighting. It's all out there in the public. You will see me doing science. You will see me inventing many great things as an engineer because I am one of us. I'm not a Trump who has a golden plated toilet seat. Okay.
You're saying that you are not elite.
No, I'm from one of us. My history proves it. And they particularly do not want people like me. See, people like me, they educate in their institutions and then they want them to serve them. But I remembered I have loyalty to my people, which is you, working people, right, where I came from. And that's not supposed to occur. Okay? Yeah.
Let me ask you about some things that happened here in Greece. I don't know if you know this, but during the COVID craziness here in Greece, we suffered mandatory measures like vaccinations, like lockdowns, like masks, and we suffered it, Dr. Shiva, more than any other European country. And we suffered that because our government and our Prime Minister, Mitsotakis is his name, Kyriakos Mitsotakis is the Greek Prime Minister, is one of the good boys of the New World Order. He's ruling the country with Klaus Schwab Great Reset book on his hand, like it's the Holy Bible, let's say. So what do you say? What is your opinion, Dr. Shiva, about this new world order, this global strategy during the COVID period?
Well, okay. So, I did a video you may have seen called The Swarm. And if you haven't seen it, you should see it. That video in 15 minutes describes the real swarm. The swarm is not just a new world order. It's not just any one group. It's a multiracial, decentralized organization of people who communicate telepathically, like, those birds who move around, right? So first of all, people need to understand who the enemy is, right? Some people say, oh, the enemy is Hillary Clinton. Oh, the enemy is this person or the enemy. So they got us running around. We have to understand the enemy is a swarm. It's an interconnection. It's a system. It's an interconnection of the 100 university presidents and the 100 world leaders and the top 100 banking executives. And you see, it's a class of people who are global now. Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to understand it's not just Charles Schwab. Okay. Because let's say he dies tomorrow, then, Charles Schwab is dead. Mentally, we cannot put it to one person. We have to mentally understand that it is a swarm. Yes. Okay. And that video, everyone should see. When you put this out, link it to that 15-minute video, because it got like 40 million views, even though with all the shadow banning. Every child should understand that video. Okay.
Yes.
So, the bottom line is this, right? That they have created, so the swarm is there. And what they do, Stefano, is they create salesmen to promote the swarm. And they're called politicians. Now, some of those politicians are the obvious enemy, like George Bush, Hillary Clinton. But they're very clever. They also create the Trojan horses, like you said. Okay? They create the Donald Trumps. They literally have a factory, okay, like a factory where they make these people. Okay? They find a Donald Trump who wanted to be an actor. Go look at his history. He wanted to be in Hollywood, but he's too lazy to probably even study. So they said, okay, we're going to give you a reality show. And then now we're going to give you another reality show running for president. Booby Kennedy, he comes from that world of Hollywood. His whole family is Hollywood. His uncle, John F. Kennedy, was a complete reckless individual. Okay? They made him into this image by Hollywood. His whole family are mafia and gangsters. People need to understand that. Yeah, it's a fact. Go look. His grandfather, Joe Kennedy, was one of the biggest mobsters in the United States. Then he wanted his son to be president. John Kennedy, was reckless as hell. He was denied service into the Navy. His father had to make phone calls to get him in. And then when he got him in, he blew up a bunch of ships. And then they made it look like he was a war hero. You see? And we have to understand it was John Kennedy who created the 1962 Vaccination Act, which forced everyone to get vaccinated in the United States and created all the bureaucracies. And then his other brother, Ted Kennedy, who killed a woman and got away with it, became a senator. He's a murderer. Okay?
Interesting.
His brother, Ted Kennedy, in 1986, created the 1986 Vaccine Injury Program to protect all the big pharma companies. Fact. You can look it up. He was the co-sponsor on the bill. So one Kennedy created the Vaccine Act, we created all the government, right? Regulations. The other brother, after people were getting vaccine injured, protected the big pharma companies. You can't sue them. Okay? Now this other Trojan horse, Robert effing Kennedy, promoted lockdowns, right? He acts like he's attacking the establishment as corrupt, but then he says, I'm going to get them to make safe vaccines. So you're going to get the mafia to make you safe vaccines. Come on. Who are you kidding? And, you know, he had all of his children vaccinated with all 69 vaccines. So you have to look at these people for who they are. Now, the media will never ask him these questions. Why? Because they want to present him as a Trojan horse, like as though he's a fighter. He's not. And you can also look at his personal history, what he did to his own wife. While he's married, he's having relationships with 38 other women, had a diary of raiding these other women. His wife finds the diary, she kills herself. He buries her body, acting as though he cares for her. The next day, he takes the body out and puts it in an unmarked grave. These people are evil, Stefano. All right?
Okay. Well,
so now, but now the point is that why is it that I have to expose these Trojan horses? Why?
Because you are the bad guy that the media don't want.
Well, more importantly, it's this. They themselves know they're Trojan horses. But if one of them exposes the other will expose them. So they all keep quiet. You see, my history, I have nothing to hide. They have a lot to hide because they're all criminals. All right. Yes. So one criminal protects the other criminal. Okay. So the opportunity we have with my running for president, probably since a couple of 100 years, no one of my background has ever run for president. Right. You know, Jefferson, and if you look at Washington, these people were both warriors and scientists, if you think about it. Right. Now we have a bunch of morons. None of them are qualified to run for president. We live in a world of systems right now. If you're a president of the United States now, you better understand how systems work, right? Everything is this. There's a healthcare system, transportation system, election system, immune system, okay? And if you don't understand this, you're unqualified to lead. What is a leader, Stefano? A leader is someone who can see the future. Go to 2020. I saw the future. I was the first person probably in the world to say Fauci must be fired. Go look at it.
Yes.
No one else said it. I did it. Why? Because I knew that he was not a scientist. I knew he was corrupt. I was the first one to discover the fact that governments of the world have created a backdoor portal into all social media companies. That's the engineer in me. That's the fighter in me. I was the first to do that. I was the first to find the election systems. I was the first to educate people on boosting the immune system. We saved millions of people's lives.
You did that because, and I must say that the Greek audience, if I'm not mistaken, you have a PhD from MIT on autoimmune system. Is this correct?
Yeah. So if you think about it, there's a lot. By the way, the Greeks, as we know, contributed immensely to mathematics and engineering. You know, there's a lot of great Greek professors at MIT. You know, so Greeks understand the importance of engineering and science, right? Mm-hmm. Indians understand the importance of engineering and science. The founders of the United States, Jefferson, Washington, Franklin, understood the importance of engineering and science. All right. But the average student graduating today, it's very sad. They can't even solve a math problem. They can't even add two numbers. Right. And they have all these opinions. Your opinions don't fucking matter. Excuse my language. What matters is, can you look at a situation? Can you actually take a pen and a paper? Can you actually solve something? Can you build something? So most of these young people can't do that. All right. So we live in a very interesting world right now that the people who actually can change the world for the better are engineers, real engineers, and working people, right? So what we have done, Stefano, is we've created a movement now. A movement. And we've built a movement no different than building email, no different than building an iPhone. To build this iPhone, you have to integrate engineering and physics, right? And everyone should appreciate the amount of engineering that's... What's that?
Vision.
Yes.
And vision.
And vision. Right. So you have to have a vision. I wanted to create a device that could fit in someone's hand. And then you had to bring together the engineering and the physics. Well, my vision is we need to have a world that has truth, freedom, health. That's a vision. Okay.
Yes.
How do we get there?
Yes.
Well, number one, you need to have the science, which is what I put together that everyone can learn in System and Revolution. There's a book. I've discovered the science of doing that. And then we've engineered all the tools so anyone listening can become what I call a truth, freedom, health warrior scholar. Anyone.
Your vision is to save the world.
Well, my vision is to do two things: is to shatter the swarm, okay?
Right. Yes.
To blow up.
In order to save the
Well,
world.
to advance the world, so each individual can become a participant in creating a better world. You see, so if you want to say that's saving the world, yes, right?
Yeah.
But in order to do that, you need to have a vision, you need to have the engineering, and you need to have the science. We've put all that together.
Last night, Dr. Shiva, I was watching the interview from the White House. I believe it was one Kate Jean-Pierre that she was talking to the journalist, and she was saying that in the mid of September, 15 days from now, we will have the updated vaccine for the COVID. And she said that we are encouraging all American citizens to take the job.
Oops, we just lost him. I'm not sure what happened. So we just lost Stefano. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe we have to go back into him. John, do you see that? We bring John in.
Yeah. Is the Zoom still up?
No, I don't see the Zoom. So anyway, hold on, everyone. We're going to reconnect with hopefully we can reconnect with our, oops, where is he? No, let me see if I can get to him. So some people are asking on the stream, can we ask some questions? Sure, we can ask questions. We'll do that right after the interview with Stefano. So if you guys can just hold on, it's a good interview. Let's figure out if we can get him back, John. Let me see if I can get him back. I have to go back to my email account and find the link to his Zoom. But it's a very nice conversation. I like the fact that if you're listening, Stefano used the word Trojan horse. Okay. It's another nice way of describing people like Kennedy and people like, let's see if he's coming on. So he may have lost something there, John. We have to do that. We may have to continue without him, but let's see if we can get him. It was a good interview, but we'll keep going. Yeah, so it looks like he may have ended the meeting, John. So let me continue. John, is that all right? Let me just continue here. So we were talking with Stefano. He's a Greek radio host, but we may have to continue. But we were really having this very wonderful conversation about the vaccines, the masks, the lockdowns, and the swarm that's coming down. The key point, and we can take some questions. Some people wanted to take some questions. If anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat. But the fundamental goal that we want to educate everyone on is just go back to 2020. Look at my position as someone running for president, as a leader, what I did in 2020. We educated people. We said it's not about pro or anti-vax. It's about boosting the immune system. We did video after video, scientific videos, educational videos, educating you on how to stand up on your own 2 feet, not be fearful, uncertain, and doubtful, and take control of your destiny. That's what I did. Fucking Trump was telling people to take the jab. He was doing lockdowns, and booby effing Kennedy was silent on Fauci in 2020. All right? But I was the first one to call out Fauci in the world. Masks. What did we do in 2020? We educated people on how to fight their local school systems with science and legal papers, how to win lawsuits at the school level. That's what I did. We educated people that if you wear a mask, what it does to the mouth, the oral health, and how it affects your children. Okay? Very different than what they did. When you look at lockdowns, we ran many protests against lockdowns. We educated people when you isolate people from other human beings, it affects your immune health. You get depressed. That's what we did. All right. And then more recently, we've educated all of you on who is the enemy, the swarm. There's a wonderful swarm video. But around all of this, we've created a movement, a university, a community, so you can become your leader. You're not asking dumb questions. What is Trump going to do? What is my prime minister going to do? They're not going to do anything for you. They're going to lock you down. They're going to try to mask you, and they're going to try to jab you. All right, that's what they're going to do. And so as a part of that, we've built a very powerful movement now. And that movement is about you getting off your butt and getting engaged. And as a part of that, we have the Truth, Freedom, and Health Warrior Program, Scholar Program. We have a community. And I want to play this video, and then let's come back and ask some questions. And I'll talk to you about the details of our presidential election, how all of you can participate.
We have allowed our country to be taken over from within. And the end goal is you will have a homogenized world where we will become slaves, because there is a condition among the elites that really thinks they're better than you, deep down inside them, that you don't deserve the freedoms you have. They don't. This reality is what people need to wake up to, and we need to all unite, working people. There's only one movement that can do that, and that is the movement that we started creating here in Massachusetts, the Movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health. Look, I've been a student of politics since I was a 4-year-old kid, studying revolutionary movements, left wing, right wing. There's a physics, there's a nuclear science to destroying the establishment. To build a bridge, you need to understand Newton's equation. You need to understand the laws of gravity. You need to understand Poisson's ratio. There is a way to build a revolution. And that's why I put this together. My goal is to train an army of truth, freedom, and health leaders. We don't need followers like social media. We need leaders, but they need training because the educational system does not teach them history, nothing. So in 3 hours, that's what I've started doing. That's the solution. We got to train people. First, with understanding what a system is, the dynamics of all systems that affect nature. The second is understanding the interconnection between truth, freedom, and health. Freedom is the ability to move freely, communicate freely, talk freely. Without freedom, you cannot convert ideas, hypothesis into truth, which is science. And without freedom, you can't really get to truth. And without truth, you make up fake problems and fake solutions, which means you destroy our health. And without health, which is the infrastructure of us and our body, you can't fight for freedom. Truth, freedom, health. Third concept is it has to be bottoms up. Working people, people who work uniting. And what the right wing has done is whenever you say working people unite, that must be communist. Meanwhile, they've let the Democrats run unions, which suppress workers, completely corrupt. But when you look at the arc of American history, it's been when working people came up. We need to go local. Every solution I'm coming up with as a part of this movement, we're giving the science, which is the truth, and then we tell people what they can do on the ground. Like with election fraud, you don't need to wait for some lawyer. Our goal is to train people to go local, to go local, to go local, fight locally. Forget lawyers, forget politicians, forget celebrities. You got to learn politics, and there is a science to it. They lock us down, we should be ready to shut them down. And the fourth part of this principle is the not so obvious establishment. So when you look at a system, there's always something that disturbs you from getting to your goal. Well, the biggest disturbance is the not so obvious establishment, which are those people who claim they're for you, on the left and the right. The Al Sharptons who tell black people I'm for you. The Tucker Carlsons. Do you think any true anti-establishment person will ever be on Fox or CNN? I don't think so. They both mislead working people back into the establishment. Without this solid understanding of political physics and theory, you're screwed. You're going to follow on the left wing, Bernie Sanders. Oh, he said something. Or Robert Kennedy. Scumbags. Or you're going to follow some right-wing talk show host. They're not going to lead us to liberation. It's us. We're building a bottoms-up movement, and that political physics, it's a nuclear science of change. Bottoms up. We have to organize to understand that there is people who talk a good game and then look at what they actually do, left and right. I'm sorry, Sean Hannity may say some good things, but I don't see the urgency in his voice to get something done, and it can only come when you weaponize yourself with the right knowledge. You need to be able to identify a rat. You know, Christ didn't go after the Romans, right? It was the Pharisees and the Sadducees who screwed him up. His own quote-unquote people. And that's where we're at. So these four concepts I've built into a curriculum where people can go to truthfreedomhealth.com, and it's an educational program. We need to train people in political theory. You need to have physics, and I've created that curriculum. People need to get educated. We need to get educated fast. And within a half an hour, I can teach people. 2 years of MIT control systems, I teach people those concepts. Then I apply it, anyone can understand it. And then you say, oh, I got to build a bottoms-up movement. They have to get politically astute, and then they have to go locally and act, not sit there on social media. They have to act locally, defy locally, do civil obedience locally, but with knowledge on how to build a movement. And the Senate campaign's expanded to the Movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health, and they can find it on truthfreedomhealth.com. So people can sign in, they can get access to a bunch of videos. If they want to take a course and become a Truth, Freedom, Health leader, I offer a full scholarship there. But we want people to make a commitment that they'll study, that they'll get certified, that they'll go do activities on the ground. So go to truthfreedomhealth.com.
This is Dr. Shiva. I hope that video was helpful. Look, the bottom line is that as I was speaking with Stefano, there's 3 things that you need in any enterprise to be successful. You'd have to have a vision, you have to have the engineering, and then you have to have the science. Let me repeat that again. You have to have the vision, you have to have the engineering, and you have to have the science. The iPhone wasn't just created out of thin air. You had to have someone who had a vision about making something this small, effective, beautiful looking, etc. Then you had to have the engineering, the people who were qualified to do that based on science, right? Scientific principles of physics, and also there's so much science in this thing. Now, if we want to create a movement, right, for truth, freedom, and health, how are we going to do that? Well, we have a vision, truth, freedom, health, vision. There is a science to building a movement. Well, if you want to get off your butt and you want to get serious, it took me 50 years to discover that science. And that's in a book called System and Revolution. And then we have the movement, truth, freedom, and health, which is the engineering of the opportunity for each one of you to learn this, become heroes, become the leaders in this. That's a freaking movement. And that is what we've created. And it is that approach, which is what gave me the ability to see the future in 2020, to speak out against this whole anti-vaxxing, and really get down to the real issue of building the immune system. It was that framework, that infrastructure that allowed me not only to call out the masks, but create tools so people could fight the mask mandates. It was that framework which allowed us in 2020, in March of 2020, to call out Fauci and lead millions and millions of people against the lockdowns. And it is that framework that allows us to identify who the swarm is. So if you want to win truth, freedom, health, right? If you want to be able to communicate with anyone in the world with ease, you use your phones, right? Well, we've created that movement, but you need to have the vision, you need to have the engineering, and you need to have the science. And that's why I wanted to play that video. We have organized that. So now it comes down to you. What do you want to do? Do you want to just sit there and whine and complain? Or do you want to actually take advantage of this? Well, one way you can take advantage of this right now is I'm running for president, okay? So this gives you an opportunity to say, wait a minute, we really have a guy who really understands what's going on. He understands, he's put together the framework to defeat these guys. He has a history of winning, right? He's an engineer, he's a scientist, and he's a warrior who's a visionary. Why don't I become like that? Why don't I become my own leader, right? So the way you can help right now is A, go to Truth, Freedom, Health, become a warrior scholar. Do it for your children, because right now the life expectancy of your child is going to be less than you. And I keep showing that curve. So and I'm the only one talking about that. Or you could just go to shivaforpresident.com and say, you know what? I'm going to support this guy. I'm going to spend $5. I'm going to get one of these bumper stickers. I'm going to put it on the back windshield of my car. I'm going to proudly tell everyone that I found a guy who's one of us. And hear all of his videos. Go to shivaforpresident.com and you can get one of these bumper stickers. But this is something you can do right now. In addition, what you can do is you can say, you know what? I want to educate all my other friends and family. You can go to shivaforpresident.com and there's a wonderful flyer that you can download, and you can share that flyer with as many people as you want. John, maybe you can just come in and hold a copy of that flyer up. Let me add John to the stream. And this flyer is a powerful weapon, because you can take this flyer and you can distribute it to your friends. You can keep it in your glove compartment. And it tells anyone you meet what is actually going on, that the life expectancy of people is going downward, okay? That this simple graph that I have, and I'll go to you right now. In fact, I'll show it to you right here. Let's go to shivaforpresident.com right now. Oh, John's bringing it up. Great. So if you go to shivaforpresident.com and you go to the downloads, you'll find this amazing flyer. John can zoom in, and the flyer says the lesser of two evils is killing your children. And on the left side, it's got a graph. That red line is an umbrella, which is telling you that the life expectancy in the United States is going down over the last 60 years. So if you have a child, your child, think about this, your child is going to have a shorter, lower lifespan than you. That should get you pretty upset. And that is brought to you by the fact, go up to the top, John, that to the title, it says people have been voting for the lesser of two evils. Well, I guess we have to vote for this idiot, and idiot one is better than idiot two. Well, you don't have to do that, because if you look and you go back to that graph again, what's happened? While you've been voting for idiots, nothing has changed. Things have gotten worse. This means you need a systems overhaul. Thanks, John. This means, again,
Dr. Shiva, Stefano sent a new link.
Oh, okay. Let me bring Stefano in. But as we're going to bring Stefano in and wrap up the interview with him, we need to understand that we need a systems overhaul. Tweaking the system, voting for the lesser of two evils is not going to change it, everyone. It's not going to do anything for you. Look at the data. So be smart, be wise, recognize that voting for the lesser of two evils basically gets you more evil. And that's where we're at. Nothing has fundamentally changed. In fact, what's happened is more people have died. The lockdowns killed more people. Hi, Stefano. I've continued. No worries.
So sorry, I cannot hear you.
Okay, hold on. Let me unmute.
Hear you.
Yes, so Stefano, when you were away, we continued.
Yes, let me again start recording. Sorry, but everything crashed here.
No worries. Let me bring you back on. Okay. So
Yeah.
we have Stefano back on, which is good. So Stefano, where we left off, right, was I was sharing with you at a fundamental level that we need to build a movement. And
Yes.
if people, and we have that movement. So to get back to this point, what we've fundamentally done, Stefano, is we have the vision, truth, freedom, and health. We have the engineering, and we have the science. And all of that, as people go to truthfreedomandhealth.com, that is the system. We have created the system that, just like the iPhone, if you use an iPhone for communication, you can use truth, freedom, and health for revolution. Okay? If you want to truly make revolution in your own community, for your own body, for your health, you have to become a truth, freedom, and health warrior scholar. So if you want to communicate with ease, you need a phone. Okay? If you want to have light in your home, you need a light bulb. Okay? If you want to make revolution, you're going to need truth, freedom, and health. It's literally a technology. It's an educational program. It's a system. If you don't have it, you're screwed. You're going to keep following this Trojan horse one day. You're going to follow another Trojan horse another day. And then you're going to sit around and say, oh, why am I so screwed? Why am I being forced to wear masks? Why am I getting jabbed? Right? And
Right.
so, and the proof is in the pudding, because if you go back to 2020, we literally saved millions of people's lives. I still get hundreds of emails. Thank you, Dr. Shiva, for telling me to take vitamin D. Thank you, Dr. Shiva. I was about to go into the ICU. I took your vitamin C protocol. You say, we save people's lives. Thank you, Dr. Shiva. You showed me how to fight the mask mandates, right? You made sure my child wasn't get vaccinated. You say? So that's how we win. You have to have a technology. You have to have an innovation.
Dr. Shiva, now they are asking the Americans, they are asking people all around the world to get updated with the new COVID vaccination that will begin in 15 days from now. Is this dangerous? That's what I wanted to ask you. Is this dangerous, and why? Well,
look, here's the bottom line, okay? Let's go. I teach this I've taught this since, let's go to the physics here, okay? Your body has about 60 trillion bacteria in it, okay, called the microbiome. Your body has around 380 trillion viruses in it right now, okay? Your body only has 6 trillion things called cells, all right? So you're a walking jungle of a virus. You have many viruses on you right now. You have many bacteria on you, all right? The other important thing to understand is when a virus comes from outside, or bacteria or fungi, it's not, and you're getting hit with them every day. Right now, probably trillions are affecting my body as I'm talking to you, but I'm not dying. If you have a strong immune system, your body knows how to accept that, modulate the immune system, and ward it off. In fact, a virus is not something that kills you. It's very important to understand. It is your body's reaction. Okay? Very, very important. If you are driving down a Greek street or street in Boston and your car has no shock absorbers, you hit a bump and you go up through the ceiling. The immune system is like those shock absorbers. When you have the right shock absorbers, you come over a puddle and you go through it smoothly. Okay? So virus does not attack you and kill you. It is the body's reaction. So for example, the coronavirus goes into your epithelial cells in your lungs. The Ebola virus likes to go into your heart. They like to have homes. Someone likes France, someone likes Greece, someone likes Boston, okay? The viruses have their homes. And when they go there, think about the military in your lungs starts shooting at this virus, but starts bombing it. It overdoes it, and it starts hurting your lungs. Okay, so it's the overreaction. So number one. So first of all, what we need, first, that education is important because what I'm saying is much more fundamental as a scientist. The 1962 Vaccination Act, which started all this in the United States and elsewhere, was based on a bogus science of 1915, which said that your body gets a virus and your body reacts and your body creates antibodies, a two-model system. And therefore, if we do a vaccine, you can create antibodies and you're okay. All right, but that's based on 100-year-old science of the immune system. Now, as one of the leading guys on the immune system in the world, the immune system is much more complex. And it turns out that if you can support your immune system, you can modulate it like it's getting shock absorbers. So number one, what I've just taught you here, and people can go see my other videos, right? 99% of doctors don't even know this. Most doctors are not trained on the immune system. Maybe they get 5 hours of courses in medical school. All right? So our doctors are actually dumb. They're stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. All right? They're good in a crisis. Let's say you are in a, God forbid, car accident and you have to be rushed to the hospital. They can do the surgery and give you antibiotic. Okay, fine. But they have no idea of how to maintain your body as a strong system. They don't even get 2 hours or 3 hours of nutrition training in medical school. Doctors are coming out like a bunch of dumb fucking robots. Most of them are dumb fucking robots. So during COVID, all of these doctors stayed quiet. And then 2 years later, they're saying, oh yeah, I was against COVID. I'm writing this book, da, 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 da. Well, you didn't do shit in 2020. So we shouldn't even be trusting these doctors anymore. They're now running around trying to say, oh yeah, I'm against the vaccine and masks. Not when the shit hit the fan. You stayed quiet. Okay, you were evil then. So we have to take health into our own consideration. Hippocrates, another great Greek, right? What did Hippocrates say? He who is not his own doctor is an idiot. Let me repeat that. That comes from your country, right? One of your countrymen. Yes. Hippocrates said, he who is not his own doctor is a fucking idiot. Okay? I don't think he used the word fucking. I'm adding that. Okay? But he might as well have said that. Okay? But so what I've done is I've created tools so you can actually start becoming your own doctor. You can understand. We create all this content. Understand that the immune system, you have to support it. Get out in the sun. Eat the proper foods and vegetables. The lockdowns tell people not us to meet other people. The masks hurt our mouth. So what we need to do, Stefano, is we need to go to every one of these doctors and say, we want you to have a debate with Dr. Shiva. Let's say, fuck off, have a debate with Dr. Shiva. Challenge them to open debates. That's what we should do.
I have done this. I have challenged Greek doctors to speak up, to have a debate with Greek doctors that early on, 2020.
No, so what about if we did this, Stefano? We say I'm going to make a date, every Saturday. Here's an idea. Yes. We say every Saturday at 11 a.m., Dr. Shiva will be live on social media to debate any fucking doctor who wants to promote vaccine, mask with science. And I'll just wait here. And everyone can invite any doctor who's pro-vaccine, pro-mask to debate me.
I will promote that.
Yeah, let's do that.
I will promote that on my show. Yes.
Yeah.
Why not? It would be interesting.
Right.
I believe that you want to have a debate with them.
Yeah, of course. So let's say starting every Saturday. What is today? Today's September 1st, is it?
Yeah, Friday, September 1st.
Okay. So this is the challenge we'll start doing. Tomorrow is September 2nd. Starting September 9th at 11. Well, we can't do it on Saturday. We'll do it Sunday. Okay. Sunday at 11 a.m. Okay. Not this Sunday, the following Sunday. Let us challenge any doctor in the world to come challenge me scientifically why you should have why you should get vaccinated, why you should wear a mask, and why you should have a lockdown.
We should put that on Twitter also, so maybe you can tag them.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then what I'm saying is that'll be our church. That'll be our church of truth, freedom, and health. You want to go to church? Right. You can come to my church, okay? The Church of Truth, every Sunday at 11, we will challenge any doctor, and anyone in the world can invite any doctor, okay?
So, Dr. Shiva,
what do you think?
A new updated vaccine is dangerous for our health. Is this correct?
Why is it? I don't think it's beneficial for our health. I mean, look, okay, so what you do is whenever you do something, you have to ask, how is this going to benefit me? First question. Okay. I'm going to wear a jacket before I go out. Why is that beneficial? Okay. You protect your heat. Okay. I'm going to wear a seatbelt. Why should you do that? Okay. I'm going to make sure my child is going to be vaccinated before he goes to school. What is the benefit? And you have to look at that benefit relative to the risk. It's called the risk benefit. Every one of us does this every day. We make, a mother says, am I going to feed my kid sugar, or I'm going to feed him some good, a nice boiled egg and some vegetables, right? You do these risk benefit analysis. But given how complex the human body is, this has to be a personal decision. It's too complex. Okay? Yes. So it's science, it's engineering. And remember, 99% of doctors are dumb. They're dumb. Okay? I know many students I went to high school with, they're the most idiotic C students. Now they're doctors. I would never want these people to touch me. Okay? They're not smart people. Doctors are pushed by their parents. They learn how to be robots. They create a bunch of egomaniacal robots. So number one, we will challenge starting next Sunday, any doctor in the world, any scientist, to come and prove why we need vaccine mandates, mask mandates, and lockdowns. What do you guys think?
Okay. Yeah, it's a great idea. Great idea.
So we have a guy here saying, someone said Dr. Shiva believes in pseudoscience. Okay. So John Nada says that I believe in pseudoscience. So we should ask this person first of all, what degrees he has in science. Has he ever published any papers in science? Has he ever done any work in science? And you can, the problem they have with me, Stefano, is I've published in the #1 journals in the world. Okay. I've gained every major award, Fulbright scholarship, right? I've won every major award at MIT. So they're in a serious fucking problem right now, because theoretically I should be working for Big Pharma right now. Theoretically, I should be part of their establishment. So, I think this is how we win. Look, my great-grandfather said, Stefano, the ultimate revolution is education. Education, education, education. So we need to educate people. What is the immune system? We need to educate people how you can take care of your immune system. We need to educate people. The entire science of vaccines is based on bullshit science from 1915, that you cannot give everyone. Now, the science of immunizing your body and making your body's immune system stronger, that's a good thing. You're supposed to be exposed to things. And that's what they try to do with the vaccine. You see, they're keeping the kids away from everything so you don't get exposed to anything. So they're creating artificial immunity. Does that make sense? So the vaccine is artificial immunity. And the issue, really, the scientific issue is what happens when you do more and more of that artificial immunity? How much are you starting to, do we become artificial ourselves? Okay. So if you want to create an artificial world, then you keep people in, sterilized rooms. You give them artificial immunity. It's like you're living in a spaceship. So if you go to Mars, you have to get all the Martian viruses, right? So the point is that, can we build natural immunity? And I believe you can. All right. And the data shows you can. And you can do that with much better benefit and much lower risk. Right. However, we have to be clear. If you tell your kid never to go outside and play in the dirt, if you tell your kid not to talk, then the kid's immune system is going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. He's going to need the artificial immunity. You see, so they're creating a condition. The more you lock down people, the more quote unquote artificial immunity you're going to need.
And the new lockdowns, Dr. Shiva, sorry to interrupt you, but the new lockdowns are going to happen with the excuse of the climate change. I believe.
Yeah.
We understand that.
Yeah. By the way, Booby fucking Kennedy promotes climate change. Okay.
Yeah.
Elon Musk promotes climate change. Right.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Booby Kennedy. You have to educate your audience. He's not a hero. He's a scumbag. In March of 2020, he did a tweet saying, yes, the lockdowns are good. They're going to stop the spread of COVID and it's going to help the climate.
And the climate.
Yeah, because people won't be using that many cars. You see, when people are home, they're not going to be using cars, which means it's going to help the climate. Okay.
Yeah.
So this guy, Booby Kennedy, is a Trojan horse. Trump is a Trojan horse. And what the problem that they're having now, Stefano, is because of our movement and because of my run for president, right? It's created a major disruption because we're attacking the Trojan horses. You see, typically people attack Troy, right? The actual people, they don't attack the Trojan horses. People attack the Romans. They don't attack the Sadducees and the Pharisees. We're attacking the Sadducees and the Pharisees, exposing the Trojan horses. So now we've disarmed the enemy. We've disarmed the swarm. They don't know what to do. Every Trojan horse they put, I go do 5 videos attacking them. Okay?
Yes.
And those videos go out, right? So now the Trojan horses, we're blowing up the Trojan horses. So now they have a problem. And then we're not only are we blowing up the Trojan horses, we're also giving people solutions. This is how you protect your immune system. Okay. I was in Sardinia, in I think in Greece, Sardinia, and in Okinawa.
Sardinia is not in Greece, it's in Italy.
No. Sardinia in Italy. And the Sardinians they're Sardinians. They're not even part of Italy. But anyway, it's
Magna Graecia. It's also Greeks that left ancient Greece and they went to Italy.
Right.
So they say about Magna Graecia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at Sardinia, if you look at parts of Italy, and if you look at parts of Okinawa, Japan, these are the 3 places where people live the longest. Sardinia. Yes.
Greece, Icaria is the island.
Right.
After Icaros. Okay?
Right.
And
so Icaria, Sardinia, Okinawa, people have the highest percentage of people who live to 100 plus. The number one reason people live long is because of community. Okay. Is community. Okay. Is the number one the reason people live long is because of community. Okay. And that's a very, very important thing to understand. And so anyway, so John Narda says a guy called Mark Bailey. Yeah. So Mark Bailey stuff, we had a conference where he and I spoke at it. The problem is many of these doctors, again, waited. Okay. They didn't do stuff at the right time. And it's not just farewell to virology. It's really understanding what the immune system is. So again, some of these doctors are starting to speak out, but they don't understand from an engineering standpoint what the whole immune system is, John. Right? Yeah. So people need to take an engineering approach. Without an engineering, doctors don't learn an engineering systems approach. They learn this organ, that organ. And some of them are starting to wake up, but they really need to go to engineering school. Again, all the doctors need to learn the body as a system. Okay? When you learn the body as a system, you start recognizing what's going on. So we have a huge opportunity in places like Greece. You should tell your Greek. We actually have a number of people in Greece who've joined our program and are become warrior scholars. But the only way out of this, Stefano, is not to react. Okay. Because what happens every time they do something, we're like running around. Oh my God, we got to do this. Oh my God. We have to build a movement. Okay. We have to be very deliberate, because today they may do a new pandemic. Tomorrow they may do climate change. Tomorrow they may say aliens are invading us, right? They're going to have all sorts of things. They may even blow up some cities. They may even drop some nuclear bombs. The issue is, what is it we do? Okay. That's what the question is.
And I believe that the movement must be global.
Yes.
Not only it's in Greece or in Japan.
Yes.
Global.
Yeah. So our movement is global, right? So if people go to Truth, Freedom, Health, we have close to 500,000 people in 120 countries now. And we didn't even do any advertising for that, Stefano. It's purely through these simple videos I do with this very simple setup, okay? It's just hard work. But what we need now is we need you and we need others to recognize we've built the iPhone. Truth, Freedom, and Health is done. We need now people to start using this science, the engineering, to liberate themselves. Otherwise, people are going to spend another 50 years trying to do all this, right? They don't have to rebuild something. It's already done.
Let me ask you one more question, because my time for the show is limited, so I don't have more time. One more question, because you're running for president. Greece and the United States of America are allies, are NATO allies. Turkey, our neighbor here in Greece, is also a member of NATO, so it's an ally for the States and for Greece. We have problems with our neighbors. President Erdogan always is provoking us. Cyprus is a big issue. Cyprus, Nicosia is the only divided capital of Europe. And also the hydrocarbons of Aegean Sea is another big issue for us Greeks and the Turks. What is your point of view?
Well, first of all, if you look at Erdogan, okay, I mean, you have a long history of the Greek elites, the Greek establishment butchering. The Turkish governments and the Turkish. It's been very sad, right? Because there's been a history of the Turkish people butchering the Greeks. I mean, this is a fact, right? And it's Erdogan is a whore, right? He's a prostitute, okay? And you cannot trust Erdogan. He goes any which way, right? One day he'll support acting like he's supporting NATO, then he'll say he's supporting Russia. He's just looking for the better deal for himself, right? So the fundamental issue is, what is the Turkish people and what are the Greek people going to do, right? Because you cannot trust your governments, because we know they're going to sell you out at any point. So we have to recognize whether it's the Greek government, the Turkish government, right? The US government, the governments are all one. They're part of the swarm. The issue is, what are people going to do? Are people going to keep voting for the lesser of two evils, or they're going to start getting educated and building a bottoms-up movement? But if you look at, for example, as you said, Cyprus, it's a divided capital, right? In some ways. But the key thing here, Stefano, they want this kind of division, right? They want people distracted, working people to saying, oh, I'm Greek, you're Turkish, we're going to fight. They do not want people uniting, working people, uniting to build these bottoms-up movements. And so the establishment, in a very psychological operations way, always has us divided, right? They'll put up all sorts of issues that make sure we never focus on the economic issues. And that's what the fundamental goal is, that we do not realize that during the pandemic, 600 billionaires made $2.3 trillion, right? That's the big elephant in the room. No one is talking about that.
No one.
Right?
I don't know if you know it, but in the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen and the CEO of Pfizer is a Greek guy from Thessaloniki.
Yeah. Albert Morla, right?
Albert Bourla.
Yeah.
They ordered 10 shots for every person in the European Union. 10.
10 what?
10 doses. 10 doses.
Oh, okay, yeah.
10 vaccine doses for every person, every human being in the European Union. It's amazing, and nobody speaks. The European Union made an investigation and they came up, everything is okay. Nothing is okay. Nothing is okay.
Yeah. Look, the bottom line is 50 years ago, someone should have built a movement for truth, freedom, health. And what's happened is over the last 50 years, because of the entertainment industry, people were brainwashed to thinking Kennedy's going to do something. Kennedy's a moron. You see what I'm saying? They brainwashed Kennedy, Trump, all these Trojan horses. So now the reason we're in this situation is because of the Trojan horses. It's very important to understand.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
The Trojan horses were created to manipulate people, so people sat on their ass and weren't activated. So what we're doing is fundamentally revolutionary. We're saying, look, first of all, I'm running for president, so you have a choice. By the way, people can put these, we have these bumper stickers that just say shatter the swarm. People in Greece can put up these bumper stickers. It's a movement, Stefano. It's a movement for people to recognize we need a leader of us. We need to become our own leaders. And then it's a movement to educate people mentally. Don't look to above. There's no Messiah coming to save you. We have to build a movement bottoms up. And that two things, not only are we telling people you should do it, but then we're giving you the tools how to do that. I can say, oh, yeah, we need to create a bottoms up movement. Oh, but how do I do it? I can say, oh, yeah, we should fly. Well, how should I fly? I've created the airplane. Okay?
Yeah.
We've created the vehicle. So we've created the tools for people. Okay? It's truly what we've done here is of true noble service. Now, the issue is how many people say, wow, I see what Dr.SHIVA and the movement have done. Let me embrace it. And my goal is getting 20% of people to get this. I don't care about the 30% of people who want to who want to get jabbed or want to. If you see someone wearing a mask, this is my advice to you. Please go give them another mask. Okay? If someone is so into getting jabbed, tell them to go get 10 vaccines. If someone wants to wear 2 masks, give them 3 more masks. That's the 30% of people. Do not argue with these people. They are going to waste your time. 50% of people, Stefano, are people which are going to watch which way the argument goes, like watching a tennis match. Okay. Then there's 20% of people who are like us. They want to change the world. They're looking for how to do that. And they're saying, oh, do I vote for Kennedy? Do I vote for Trump? They're confused. Well, those 20% who really want to change the world, that's why Truth, Freedom, and Health exists, okay? That's for the 20% who want to start blowing up Trojan horses, all right? And when we mobilize that 20%, we're going to bring over the other 50%, and the 30% will die off, okay? That is the political strategy. That is the strategy. We have to attack the Trojan horses, which I do every day, right? I have to do that dirty job. We have to grow the movement for truth, freedom, and health. And one way you can all participate is there's a guy running who created it, okay? So now you have a real hero, okay? And you can be a real hero. And it's about making sure people rise up, bottoms up. If we don't do it now, Stefano, there's never a better chance to do it. We have to do it at some point, okay?
I agree. Dr. SHIVA, thank you so much for this conversation. I hope the best. And I hope the best for everyone.
Well, we shouldn't hope. We should do, okay? Hope was what Obama did, okay? Our action is do, action, okay? So the goal is people should go to truthfreedomandhealth.com, take advantage of this tool we've created, which is your tool. People should go to shivaforpresident.com, right? Get a bumper sticker, right? Get a flyer that they can give to people. John just shared a copy of that flyer. And that flyer is a document. We can convert it to Greek, okay? We have it converted to all different languages. It teaches people that voting for these Trojan horses in whatever country is not going to help you, that they're going to kill you, that we have to build a bottoms-up movement.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Stefano.
Bye-bye.
Be well. Best to you. Okay?
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, everyone, that was one of our Greek supporters. He runs a radio station there, and he wanted to have us on. But in closing, what I want to share with everyone is, number one, go to shivaforpresident.com. order their bumper sticker, put it proudly on your back of your windshield. Go to shivaforpresident.com, download that flyer, become a volunteer, donate. But remember, when you donate, I give you books, I give you courses, we give you content so you can become a hero, you can become a leader. Anyway, everyone, be the light, get involved, and don't delay. Thank you.